Hello, my name is Tuppence. So I've recently seen Petra Jongbloed do a really lovely technique called the Supernova technique, and I would love to have a go at it. I've seen it being done in moulds that are pretty deep. Unfortunately, I've only got this shallow coaster mould, so I'm going to try that. I've also got some resin dyes. I've got a blue, and this is from Let's Resin. I've got a yellow, a kind of peachy pink, and a green. And I've also got some of this white sparkle mica from Meyspring. It's called Dazzling diamonds. So I'm going to mix up 100 mils and see if I can actually get this to work. Now, you need to divide your resin. I've got 4 colours plus my mica. So I think I'm going to do a roughly 10 for my colours. I'll do 20, I think, for the sparkle, and the rest will be the push pour, which will be 40, I think we're at then. So yeah, I'm just going to give this a go and see if I can get it to work. I don't know. Let's see what results I get. But first, I need to mix up some resin. Okay, I've got 100 grams here. This is craft resin, and I'm going to divide that between my 4 cups of colour. So I'm going to put roughly 10 mils in each cup. And then I can have 20 that I'm going to use for my sparkle white mica. And then the rest will be the push pour. There should be 40 left. Now, obviously, I'm doing a different mould to the ones that I've seen demonstrated. So I've had to make these ratios up myself. I don't know if I've got it right. We'll only find out at the end. There's so many variables here that could make a difference. So this is my 20 ml roughly. And I'm going to add a couple of scoops of this lovely sparkle white mica. So it's a glitter, but it's also a white mica as well. Get that all mixed in. Again, I don't know if that is too much powder. I can never stop myself from adding a little bit more. So hopefully I haven't put too much in there and made it too heavy. I know that that glitter is probably going to sink. I'm hoping it's not all just going to sink in a clump, but we'll see. So let's just scrape that off, and then I can add the colours to the other bits. Now I've got a little bit of this mica powder in my mould, so I should have moved that out of the way first really. Let me take that out of the way and then I'll clean that off afterwards. Now I can mix up the sky blue epoxy resin dye, and I don't know how many drops to put in this. I think you do want a pretty strong colour, but you do want it to be sort of transparent, which is why I'm using the resin dye, not a mica. I don't have very many alcohol inks. That's something I'm waiting to arrive actually, so I will have to use those another day and try that. But I think that's a little too faint, so I'm going to add a few more drops, try and make that a little bit of a stronger colour, because they're all going to mix together hopefully. I'm going to be doing a dirty pour. So there is my blue. It's a lovely colour, it's just very, very faint. Alright, so the next one is going to be this peach red. So I'll try that. And again, I'm just going to put in a few drops to begin with, maybe 5. Because I haven't got very much resin in these cups. Oh, that's a little bit stronger. That's looking pretty good. You do want to use colours that are going to be able to mix nicely together. I don't want to muddy them, which is easily done. Alright, so that is my peach red. Just wipe this off. Now I've got 2 more to do. So I have got yellow, and then the final one will be green. So I'll put a few drops in, see how that goes. I might need to add some more depending on the colour. Oh, but that looks pretty good actually. Yellow is a tricky one. Yellow tends to be pretty weak, but that one looks nice and strong. So just get that mixed in. Clean off my stick. And then it's just the green one to do. So this is called Emerald Green. And again, I'm going to put a few drops in first and see how that goes. And oh boy, this is really hard to squeeze this bottle. That is hurting my hand like crazy. All right, let's get that mixed in. And again, that's not as strong of a colour as I thought it was going to be. Just make sure I get that mixed in so that there aren't any streaks. It's just one solid colour. Trying not to mix too many bubbles in at the same time. It's a little chilly here still, but I'm going to go with that and see how that goes. All right, so I'm going to need a little cup that I can pour all of the colours into, because you need to do a dirty pour first. So obviously I don't know if that's going to be big enough, but I'll try it. And I need to clean this mica out of my mould first. So I'm using a small piece of washi tape, and I've sped this up so you don't get bored of me trying to get that glitter out. All right. Now I can start with mixing the colours. Well, not mixing the colours, you just layer them on top of each other. So I'm going to start with this pinky red first, and I'm drizzling it down the side of the cup so that they don't just automatically mix, but they do layer. And if I put the blue on top, I should get a kind of purple between those colours. Then adding the yellow should give me some kind of a green. And then obviously a lighter lime green. Now I'm not going to just put the red back in, because that would give me a horrible brown muddy colour. So I'm going to do the blue, which should give me a different shade of green and blue, turquoise maybe. Just drop that in. I think that's probably going to be the last of that. But I'm going to do the red next, because that's going to give me a purple again. And then I'll put the yellow in last. Will give me a kind of a orange mixture. So obviously this is, if you can do the maths, you can see that I am pretty close to being full up. This cup is pretty close to being full up, but I may not have done 10 mils in each of these cups. I have to say it's incredibly hard to see the markings on the side of them, so I might have done 7.5 mils in each of them. I don't know, but I've got some colour. That's all I'm thinking about, is I've got colour, and hopefully it will be enough to go around the edge of my coaster. But I do know that I have enough to fill the coaster with all of it, so that's fine. Right, so now I'm going to start pouring this around. It looks really dark in the cup, but you can see the colours as I'm starting to pour this around. I'm just going to go all the way around the edge. And that is looking pretty good. They do look like they've mixed quite a bit. So I'm using craft resin, as I've said. It is a low viscosity resin, which could be an issue. I think I heard Petra say that she used a high viscosity. So now I'm going to add my white mica, and I'm going around the edge, and I have a feeling I should have moved that in a little bit, because maybe I just don't have the ratios quite right. You never know, I'm still going to go for it. All right. That is looking pretty good. Still sitting on the top. So now I've just got my clear. That's going to be my push colour, so I'm going to put that in the middle. And that should push everything to the outside. And then you hope it's all going to come moving back into it. Well, not all of it, but most of it will come back into the middle. So let me just get everything out. I need to transfer this over because I'm not left-handed, and scrape the rest of that out. And that is enough to fill this coaster. Well, I've got just it's only just coming level with the surface, because I'm probably going to want to give this a top coat after. So now I need to get a few bubbles out of the middle. I had let it sit for a little while and they weren't coming up to the surface, so I'm just going to use this micro brush stick, try and just pick them up from the bottom so that they rise up on their own. I'm trying not to stir this or move this. I'm being really gentle. Okay, so now that's just got to sit and do its thing. And it doesn't look like it's doing it in the same way. Well, it's still pretty early. So I'm going to leave this for 45 minutes. I've still got a few bits of resin left in my cup, but I obviously have enough in my coaster that it is full. It's not going to take any more. So I'm going to leave this for 45 minutes and then I'm going to put my curing machine on and see what happens, see whether that makes any difference. So I will be back when I am ready to demold this. It's all cured now and you can see it's changed a bit. So I'm just going to demold this and take a look. And yeah, it's a little bit more streaky than I like. Is it a Supernova? I don't know. I like the edge. I like the colours. I don't think they're as strong or as defined as I'd like. So I'm going to have to save that somehow. So here is the back. It is super sparkly. Let me zoom in so you can see. I like that glitter around the outside. In fact, I think I like it a lot better than I do the front. I'm just disappointed with the colours. So this is something I'm definitely going to revisit, but to rescue this and make it a little bit more usable and pretty, I'm going to add this DTF sticker or rub-on. So I'm going to use this kind of little robin amongst, well, I don't know what they are, cherry blossoms, something like that. So I'm just going to cut that round, but I don't want the words. So I will chop those out first and then I can remove those. I'm just going to use the bird and the flowers. So I'll just gently cut around those. So I got these stickers from Temu and there's kind of like rabbits and deer and the robins and the birds. Really pretty. If I can find them, I will link that in my description box below. So you just peel off the backing and then lay down this sort of sticker. When I say sticker, it's not really a sticker. It's not sticky on the back. So I'm just going to get that in position. And then you need to use a lollipop stick or something to press this down and transfer it or rub it onto the surface. So I'm just going to gently rub over the top and push down, and you can't really see anything. So I'm gently going to peel this back, just see if it's actually transferring across. And it is. So I just need to carry on and do the rest. Well, pants. That's kind of torn it, literally. The lollipop stick went over the outside of the plastic and it's torn the sticker underneath. So I'm going to have to fix that with something later, but I'm going to carry on rubbing this down, just trying to be a little bit more careful. Okay, I think I've gone over the whole surface, so I'm going to gently peel the plastic back, and then if there's anything that is still coming up with that, I'll put it back down and rub it off again. But that looks pretty good. And it's a shame about that because otherwise that's really pretty. Darn, so I need to find some way of covering that up. But I think that's made that look a lot better. So let me find something to cover that up with. So this is one of the other sheets. It has rabbits and hares on it, and there's also a butterfly, so I'm going to use that. And hopefully that'll be enough just to cover that area. I think it's big enough. Now I just need to peel it off of the paper backing. and then I'll be able to see whether this is going to be enough to cover that gap up. And it looks like it's the right size, and you can't see through it, so that's great. So I'm just going to gently rub that down with the lollipop stick. Try not to scratch any of the image that is already there. Okay, and then gently lift up the plastic. Try and get my finger under there. Okay, yeah, that's worked. It looks okay. Not ideal, but it is covering it up. So now I want to protect that, and to do that I'm going to give this a top coat of some more resin, and I need to get some gloves on first. I'm going to be using the Apex Resin 1 coat for this, and I've got a couple of cups on my G3 curing machine so that I can warm this resin up before I use it. So I'm going to put 10 mils in each side to give me a total of 20, and that should be enough. So that is the part B, which is the hardener. And now I'm going to pour the resin in here, and you can see just how thick and gloopy this resin is. So I'm going to pour this in a little bit at a time and let it settle down to make sure that I actually get the 10 mils that I want. Okay, that is 10 mils of each. So I'm going to pop this in the machine, and I'll put it on at 140, and I'm going to leave it for about 10-15 minutes, and that should be enough to warm up each before I try and mix them together. Okay, they are all warmed up, and part A, the resin, is now a lot more fluid. So I'm going to put that in from above. I always remember that part B goes below and part A is above. So you're adding the thicker, heavier resin into the lighter, more liquid resin, and that helps to mix as it drops through. So I'm just going to scrape all of that out and then start to mix this in my other cup. So it's pretty streaky as you mix it. You can see the two separate parts. And I just need to make sure that I mix these together until all the streaks have disappeared. So I'm stirring around, scraping the bottom and the sides of the cup. And to make this a little bit more easier, I'm going to transfer these back into the other cup. Scrape all of this out, and that way I can be pretty sure that I've got all of this mixed in. Because I'm going to need all of this resin. So just scrape that cup to get all of it out, all the way around the sides. And then I can mix this cup thoroughly. So it'll take about 3 minutes, just until all the streaks have gone and I've got a nice clear liquid. So I'll be back once this is all mixed. Okay, this is now ready to pour on top, and I'm looking to get a very slightly domed effect. So I'm just going to pour this gently, starting in the middle, and then work my way around. I don't want to go too close to the edges. I want to make sure that it doesn't flow over the edge. And then I can scrape out my cup. And it looks like it's pulling to one side. My table is level, but it could be that the mat isn't. So I'm just going to tip it slightly the other way. And it looks like I've got something in there. So let me just grab a pair of tweezers and see if I can fish that out. Might have been a bit of dried resin in the bottom of one of my cups, or off of my stir stick. Alright, so now I just need to gently coax this to the edges. So I'm going to tip it a little bit, and then I can use my stick to guide it up to the edge. I'll speed this up a little bit. Okay, that's looking pretty good. If I crouch down, I can see the light reflecting off of the edges, and I can make sure that I've got it all the way to the edge and it's nice and rounded. So now I'm going to leave this for about, again, 45-50 minutes, and then I'm going to pop the machine on. Now this stuff does cure pretty quick, but as I say, it's pretty cold here, so I'm going to give it a helping hand. And I will be back once this is all cured. And here it is finished. It's cured really nicely and it looks great on this white surface. You've got a lovely glossy top, and when you lift it up you do still see quite a lot of colours, not as many as if it has a backing on it. I am a little disappointed with the way it looks, but I do like this sticker on it. However, do I leave it like this, or do I use some of this? This is chrome vinyl, and the other side, the sticky side, is also silver. So this is the kind of effect that you would get if I was to stick this on the back. And it's really reflective. The colours are showing up so nicely. So do I stick that on the back, or do I leave it transparent like this and just put it in the window? I don't know. I really like this effect. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Either way, I'm going to leave it like this for a little while, and I can always add that chrome should you guys think it's a good idea. I'm definitely going to try this again. Is it a supernova? More supernova, I think, but I love it. I really like the effect. So let me know about the chrome. And yeah, if you've liked this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Comment please, share if you can, and subscribe if you haven't. It is free to you. It will really help my channel. You'll be able to come back and see what I'm going to make next time. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye.